Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Reginal Drummer, the peopleologist, and welcome to another episode of We Are Ready, where we prepare ourselves for situations such as the time we're currently in. So, no matter where you are, we encourage you to like, share, and tag and let your friends and loved ones know that we're over here on YouTube coming to you live. We got a special show tonight, Surviving and Thriving. Surviving and Thriving. We'll be joined by some very, very special guests. But I want to share something with you up front. If we get ready and we stay ready, we don't have to be in a particular situation where we're not ready. And when you're not ready, you find yourself behind the line, you find yourself behind the eight ball, and you find yourself in a difficult situation. So every week we try to focus on something that you can do to help sustain yourself, your family, and your community, no matter what the situation. Whether it's 7 days of going without something, 7 weeks of going without something, or 7 months without going without something, or even 7 years, and it gets extremely hard. So a lot of times there are many things that we can do to get ourselves in preparation mode. So we share a lot. I encourage you to go over to the We Are Ready Facebook page and see some of those items, prepping yourself, getting your house, unquote, in order so that no matter what the situation, you'll be ready. When it comes down to underlying issues for you, your family, and your loved ones, you won't be at the mercy of whatever shows up, whether it's a natural disaster, or are you prepared, or if it's some degree of quarantine, dealing with COVID, this pandemic, or pandemonium. Also, we encourage you to take full advantage of a lot of opportunities within your neighborhood. In Georgia, and I think around the nation, voting is taking place. So if you want to see your neighborhood, you want to see your community, you want to help your family, you definitely need to vote on November the 2nd. That's coming up in a day. And that's dealing with local people, whether it be mayors, city council people, and in some cases, school board elections. And then the excise tax for transportation and schools. So we've been talking about that. But tonight, being this is Halloween night, and it's the kickoff for the holiday season. But this is also one of the saddest, most depressing times for a lot of people. So even when we prepare ourselves to get ourselves in position, we have to think about ourselves, our loved ones, and try to get some care and help for ourselves. During this time period, you could be sequestered, or you could be outwardly involved with people. And because of so many things that's going on, people are being put into different situations. Families are finding themselves not only missing or losing loved ones, but having loved ones that are alive that say, well, you can't come over here because you don't have your mask and you're not vaccinated. You can't come to the holidays. You can't come see us on what? Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year. So a lot of things are facing the family. So we have our own personal mental health expert, counselor, and a whole lot of things. Miss Shar'ia Thomas, that's going to be joining us this week. She's going to share some stuff with us when it comes down to what can you do during the holidays to put yourself, your family, or your loved ones in a better position. Because a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and this is mental health month. We also have one of our own, Miss Sylvia Hayes, with the Power Thoughts. She'll be sharing some things with you about what can you do. Maybe it's a good book you need to read during the holidays, something like that. But both of these young ladies will be our special guests this evening. So I encourage you to sit back, kick back, and get ready for some good information. Call up a friend, share with a friend, tag a friend, and let them know that we are ready. And as long as we stay ready, we don't have to get ready. I know we got Miss Thomas over there, but Miss Hayes, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing great. I mean, you can't, to feel this good. Uh, I mean, it's just one of them things. I think everybody should feel this good. And all I'm drinking is water.
Oh, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey there, Miss Shar'ia. Miss Thomas, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Good evening,
Okay.
drummer and Sylvia Hayes. How are you
hi,
all this
Shar'ia.
evening?
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Good.
It's like a family reunion. We were
It
just sharing
is.
some things, over the things have changed, even just like the day being Halloween. Uh, Different things have changed, and that puts us all in a different mindset. When I was growing up during this time period, I'd be out uh, looking for trick or treat kid, dressing up like I think back then I was dressing up like a skeleton or something like that. I put a mask on and want to be Batman, somebody like that.
Uh-oh.
But but now, I fly around, and then one year I was Casper the Friendly Ghost. but now everybody's not celebrating holidays, and that used to be a tension reliever for people. And I don't, maybe you all can, I mean, I definitely want you to introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself to the audience. But one of the things you can share with how on a personal level, how do you deal with the holidays? And then on a professional level, Ms. Thomas, maybe you can share with us certain things that you look for when it comes down to depression, when it comes down to anxiety and all those things during the holiday period. But
Sure thing.
okay. And I know you've got some things out there, Miss Sylvia, the power thoughts to get people through that period. But maybe we can start with you, Miss Shar'ia. When you think about the holidays, well, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let us know what do the holidays mean to you, and then from a professional level as well.
Sure thing. Well, yes, I am Shar'ia Thomas, and thank you for having me back, drummer, on the show. And I am a licensed mental health therapist, certified substance abuse counselor, um, certified life coach, just really helping people to live a happier, healthier, more peaceful and joyful life. And, I try to live out that as well myself. And when it comes to the holidays, we are upon several holidays. I guess today, of course, some people celebrate, some don't. Then we have Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas, Hanukkah. So all the holidays are upon us over these next few months. When it comes to, sure, I don't mind, of course. I share personally in terms of my perspective, but also professionally. But the holidays they're a joyful time for me. But Halloween was never something that I truly celebrated. That was not something that my family celebrated. I do recall just 1 year, that I just wanted to see, well, what is it like to trick or treat, per se. And so I dressed up. My sister gave me her graduation gown,
Mm.
and I dressed up as a graduate. And so that was my only year in time to trick or treat, because, as I said, that wasn't something that was celebrated in my family and looked at upon as a holiday to celebrate. But I did have that experience, and I wasn't missing out on anything. I can tell you that I was always given, uh, well, I guess really in terms of Halloween, it was about the trick or the treat. So I was always given candy or treats in my family. So, I didn't feel like I was missing out. But overall, in terms of the holiday season, I always like to celebrate, period. Just being in the festive mood, period, overall. And however, it's not always celebratory for many. For some, it can be, and for some, It can be very depressing. It can be very stressful, and create a high level of anxiety. So it really just depends on your experience and being able to, what I hope to do is prepare some. I don't want to jump in. I want to also give Sylvia a chance to share as well, but I definitely have some tips that I want to help those get through the holidays in a better way to connect, to be able to deal with any what may come. I would say criticism. Big thing when it comes to reconnecting with family that you may have not seen in a while is a lot of criticism may come up, some sense of levels of stress. So I'll give out some tips a little bit later on how to handle that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
And you was an intellectual when you you did do trick or treat. You came as a student, a graduate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So power to you.
Yes.
Ah. All right, Miss Sylvia, what were y'all doing? What were you doing? Holidays and things growing up for you during this time period.
We always look forward to Christmas and Thanksgiving. Growing up, Halloween, the main thing was getting the candy.
Right.
That's the only thing we thought about was getting candy. We weren't thinking about celebrating the holiday itself per se, but just an opportunity to get candy. Because as a kid, we love candy, and that's all we can think about. Oh, this is the day we go get candy. So we go get our candy, and that was it for the holidays. But as you get older, then you start realizing the meaning behind not Thanksgiving, but Halloween, why it came into play and stuff like that. And so I stopped doing it. Even with my kids, I still took them out to get their candy. I still did. But when time for me to give out candy and stuff for the kids, I didn't do candy. I did fruit. I bought a big old thing of apples and a big old thing of oranges. So when somebody knock on my door, trick or treat, I give them an apple or orange. I didn't give candy, something nutritious. So that's what we did, because by that time I was into this health thing. Yeah, I didn't want to give anything unhealthy because I wanted everybody to be healthy. But Thanksgiving and Christmas, I know it is hard for a lot of people. It brings back memories for those who've been lost or just disconnected from their family members. It's hard. So we still celebrate it with my family. The girls would cook Thanksgiving, and Christmas my mom would do the cooking. So we spread it around. So that was about it for us. But we always got together during the holidays.
Well, my experience with the holidays, and I was the first one in my family to break loose and get woke. So we celebrated all the holidays, and I probably shared this before. I was still believing in Santa Claus. I was 15.
Really?
I was so you can see where I was at. So trick or treat, it was, I put a mask on, a little Batman mask. Like I said, I came out as Casper the Ghost. We had a sheep. And you go from house to house. And my grandmother would take us to the house and all that type stuff. And Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that. So as I got older, a lot more aware, and start associating those days with other things. It look like it does take the fun out, but I tried not to take the fun out of when I was raising my son. Because even though I knew about them, but everybody else was doing it, I didn't want him to just be left out. So and then trick or treat was fading out during that time period. Because there's a lot of things going on. And during the 90s, a lot of things started to change. So awareness and things of that nature. So I didn't, as a family, anytime I came around my family, and I still have family members that extend even trick or treat to their grandkids. You know, it is what it is within my family unit. And I don't try to just discourage them, you know, because sometimes it's good to see them dress up as, you know, but then in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, you're not a witch. You take that off. You know, I would rather see them do what you did, Miss Thomas, when you put, you know, a graduate uniform on or something uplifted, you know, instead of Google or Goblin. You know, but now, you know, people dress up real crazy because today I've seen so many people running around. You know, you used to be a time it was like Freddy Krueger and Chucky, but now you got the Joker, you got all kind of things people dressing up as. But you know, I think some of them do bring the family to get together. You know, Thanksgiving, they got a whole different meaning on Thanksgiving. Ever since I heard about what they did to the indigenous people 2 days after Thanksgiving, so I was like, oh man, goodness. And then Christmas, you find out that it's on a different thing, you know. So, but I still look at those time periods, get together with family. So I try not to be the spoiler.
Yeah. I know some people use Halloween, though. They're not thinking about the meaning behind the holiday. It's just the opportunity to get together and have fun. So that's because I know when they do costume parties, they're eager to come up with a costume so they can win the contest who have the best costume. So it's more like fun rather than what the holiday actually mean.
Okay.
I agree. Yes. Some people don't really even know what it means.
Well, I got a question, and this is for families who don't practice certain holidays. How do the children navigate from being bullied? You know, because you know when people really they get in your face now. It's easier as an adult, but as a child, you can get bullied for not participating. I mean, how do you handle that? You know, from a professional level or even from a mother's type level. How do you suggest you handle young ones being bullied? You know, they come and say, Auntie, Mommy, they say I'm this because I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving or trick or treat. You know,
Right.
I mean, what do you do? What do you tell them?
What do you do? What do you tell them? Well, you know, from two perspectives of personally as well as professionally. Again, I kind of started out with learning how to better deal with criticism, and that's going to come across, especially when it involves children and being different. And so I was different growing up. But the thing was, in terms of being seen as being different, and that I didn't see it as being negative and I would even encourage, you know, some parents to talk to their children ahead of time and help them to see it as it's not a negative thing that they don't say celebrate Halloween, or some may not celebrate Christmas or whatever holiday it is, and help them to see it as a positive. And that will help them to embrace it even more. But for some children, it can be difficult. And so learning how to better navigate criticism is a skill. You know, it's a skill that some, even as adults, never really learn and take it very hard and are never able to know how to deal with negativity or the way that someone may have a comment because they are not like the other person. I would say in dealing with that is first for, say, if we're looking at the perspective from the parents teaching and helping the child, is helping them to learn how to respond differently to the criticism, is for them to not react and for them to see it as even questioning the person on the other end. You know, well, what do you mean by that? What makes it a bad thing that I don't celebrate Christmas or I don't celebrate Halloween and you do? So it becomes more of an open thing that they can be able to talk about. Um, from the parents' perspective, is just that embracing it more as this is what we do, and it's nothing wrong with it. But it's only common that there's going to be that a child, when we say bullied, because the question was about being bullied, I would want to know in terms of bully, or there are different types of bullying. If it's just negative words coming towards them, that's just preparing the child to be more receptive to knowing that everybody's not going to like you, and that's okay. Everybody's not going to accept who you are, what you do, and that's okay. That's just really helping the child to build on their own self-esteem. And that does take the parents to be able to teach them and show them the positives about themselves.
Mhm. That's good. That's good. Because so many times, um, especially now, uh, when I was growing up, it was like sticks and stones can break my bones, but they never hurt me. Plus, I was good at playing a dozen, so
Mm-hmm.
you know it wasn't hard. I couldn't fight so well, so you know, so I had to be able to do something. As a male, so a lot of things like bullying, are not in during that time period. Uh, I was engaged in those holidays. But even just like when I started raising uh, my family, some of the things, and even my son asked me about things. He did that today. Asked me about uh, the trick or treat. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
letting let it go out, or one was going out and the other one wasn't. So, you got a different conversation in the house because everybody looking at stuff different. But
Right.
to chastise somebody or make somebody feel real bad, I think that's something that's happening today a lot more. People are getting your face a lot
Mm-hmm.
quicker than they used to get and do things. Uh, but is there a power thought for that, Miss Sylvia, when it comes down to helping navigate that for young ones and just other people? Because you know what, even as an adult, I went to a trick-or-treat party. They didn't call it trick-or-treat, they called it a masquerade ball. I was working at a job and everybody wore masks, and some people some people went, some people did. But are there some things that power thoughts for that, Miss Sylvia?
The only thing I can think of right now is never let anyone dictate to you how you should feel about yourself. And
Mm,
sometimes a holiday, celebrating a holiday, is the way you feel, and they can't dictate to you you should feel this way or that way. You got to stand strong on how you feel on holidays. Personally, for me, I never really had that problem. So it's really difficult for me to answer, and I haven't dealt with it with anybody else because I teach my kids to respect people and their way of living.
mm,
So I haven't really came across, so I don't really have an answer for it, but you can't let people dictate to you and make you feel bad about your choices. If that's something you strongly believe in, you got to stick with it, regardless, of what somebody else said. Because people, sometimes when they talking to you, sometimes they might feel the way they're saying negative to you, but they might feel like they should be that way. You know, they just doing the opposite. You know, he's out there doing this, and I'm not doing it, so I'm gonna make fun of him. Because they're doing this. I wish I could do this, but Christmas, a lot of people, they don't have the funds, to do Christmas. That's one of the holidays. They don't have the funds to celebrate Christmas. And with me, it's like, okay, you get something, but it's time to spread the joy. It's not all about you. It's what you can do for somebody else. You know, and it's not necessarily just buying Christmas presents. Make Christmas presents. You know, take them a cupcake or something. Merry Christmas, whatever. I always said Christmas wasn't for kids anyway, it's for the adults. that's,
Okay.
that's the way I look at it. Because I discovered that one when my kids were small. I'm going, Christmas is not for the kids, it's for adults. Because we get so much joy out buying for our kids and surprising them. You know, because I remember during one year when my kids were little, you remember these dolls they had, baby surprise? You might get a girl, you might get a boy, you might get twins. Remember
Okay.
that? So I remember
Oh.
going to J.C. Penney's, and I'm in this store picking up each box, shaking it, you know, trying to make
Okay.
sure I'm getting the heaviest one so I can get those twins. You know, everybody else just go pick up a box, but I'm up there shaking, trying to get the right one. And I picked up the heaviest one, I bought it, and when I got to the car, and this was for Christmas, I was so excited. I just opened the box right there in the parking lot to make sure I got it. And that's when I discovered Christmas is not for kids; it's for adults. But
Oh.
you have to make the kids aware that you know it's a privilege. You know, you have to make them aware that it is a privilege, and you can't just take it for granted you getting everything and nobody else getting anything and marking them because they don't get anything. They just don't
Right.
have it. You have to let them know that one day you might be in those same shoes. You just
Yeah.
been blessed. You know, and when somebody is mocking you, just say your time is coming. You know, don't
Wow.
worry about them because they're jealous. You know, you got more than what they have. They may have all the toys, but what about
Mhm.
the love? What about the connection to your family? You got that. You know, what about all together? Is your family gonna be there together? And that person who's mocking you, they may be at home by themselves, playing with them toys by themselves. You know,
Right.
so there is, you know, it's a difference. You know, it's a difference.
Well, when families become more involved uh, with uh, with their children, I think there's healthier relationships. Whether you celebrate a particular holiday or don't celebrate a particular holiday, it's just like uh, there were some holidays uh, I didn't even realize. You know, I knew about the big ones. Uh, you know, when you start coming around, what's that? We call this the big four. When you look at trick or treat, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and then you right in there with Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and all that. Well, when all those days come, if families practice a particular way or do a particular thing, then you have to throw birthdays in there. I know sometimes people don't celebrate birthdays and stuff, but as family, when they come in and discuss stuff like we discuss it, you have a good open dialogue, uh, the young ones are better prepared to interact with other people. So do you see when you have participation of the older adults and the younger adults within a family unit, does that help?
Most
Most
definitely.
definitely.
Most definitely. Yes.
Yes.
That's good that you brought that up, Drummer, just in terms of that level of communication and it being more open and receptive to for the say the parent or even the elders of the family to really just let the children know this is how things are and giving them the outlet just to even communicate about it, just to talk about what their perspective is and even help to bring them in to better understand whether it is on the end that they don't celebrate and why they don't celebrate and that it's not a negative thing and it's okay to embrace other people's culture who do. Then it brings in, even what Sylvia said in terms of just respecting and appreciating one's own culture, but being okay whether it's different than your own. And that's really big when it comes to, I deal with many different people and even families in terms of counseling. When I may do counseling as a family, the biggest area is that level of communication, because we have to learn how to be able to deal with and walk through the conflict that comes up. And at the beginning of the show, you talked about just how to better deal with and how to cope with the holidays, because yes, we're Halloween is considered to be today. Then we have Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas, New Year, and all of those are significant holidays for some. And so it brings up a lot of emotions, and some people can really be triggered in a positive way, but then also in a negative way. And it all goes back to a lot of family history, what they may have experienced, that those experiences may have been joyful, happy, but on the other end, it may not have been. So how do you handle and how do you deal with those emotions and then those interactions with those people in your family that you may have not had some closure to, or there's still some hostility as it relates to a family member. And that's very, very common. So I do want to share, first off, is, there's different dynamics when it comes to family gatherings. And so some may be to where it can get very argumentative. And some find that stressful and will, in the past years, they decide, well, I don't even want to go to Christmas dinner. I don't want to even have Thanksgiving. And so they avoid, which only creates more anxiety when we avoid situations that we really need to be able to step up to and deal with that challenge. And so how do we deal with it when we know that normally the engagement may be more of a confrontational or aggressive environment? Is learning how to, yes, better deal with that, the criticism that comes, and your own level of stress. How do you calm down your own emotions so you're able to take in some positive from the experience, but know when to walk away? So I would encourage this, a 4-step, easy tips. I'm really big on acronyms. They help myself, and they've helped a lot of my clients remember and be able to take that step through. Is stop, question, check in, decide. Stop, question, check in, decide. It's easy when we are in the moment and something comes up and you hear a family member that may say something, do something. Why don't you have on your mask? That's a big thing. That's common. I guess we can take that scenario. Why don't you have on your mask? Don't come around me if you don't have on a mask. Something as simple as that, but that might trigger a person, or that might even cause them not to even want to visit. But on the other end, they really do want to be around their family. So when we say, okay, I'm in the moment, stop, question, check in, decide. Stop is I've got to decide to first, let's not react, but let's respond. And the first way we get there is we get out of our emotions and we get into being more rational. The only way we can be more rational is first we have to calm down and think it through. Because if we react and I just quickly say something and I don't think about it, then there is consequences after that. So the stop point is definitely just take that pause. Pause is easy with a breath. Let's breathe in that moment. Let's walk away if you need to, so you don't automatically just immediately respond to what that person is saying that might be triggering to you. Then question. Question meaning determine, is this really a criticism? Are they really, trying to say something that gets under my skin? Are they really trying to be ugly towards me? Something that may be going on inside of your mind's eye, just thoughts that might be running through your head. And so many thoughts may be running through a person's head in the moment when they're triggered. So we want to take that and see, really, is it that, or is it this person? Although we want to take the emotion out of it, even if it's said in a angry way or their voice is loud, let's take out the emotional part and take it as to what are they really saying underneath. And that only takes time if we calm the emotion first. Then we check in by, yes, asking them. If you're not clear, that gap in the middle is just to ask a question and then determine if it's valid criticism or not, and how to deal with it that way. So that's the stop, question, check in, and decide.
I like that. I'm writing that down. I always get some good information when it comes down to handling situations. And I know we've been talking about the holidays, and you're dealing with just other crises that come up. And I recently there was a situation down in Louisiana, and there was a lot of fights at a school, and the reaction was to lock them all up, take them to jail. Because there's nothing we can do. We can't stop them from fighting, but nobody came in to intervene to find out what was really going on.
Wow.
And there were some men that came together, and I think they started, which is, people been calling us because they're dads on duty. And if you're familiar with the Dads on Duty program we had, those men went in that school, and they actually made a difference because they stopped, they questioned, and they checked in with the young people. And for 30-something days, they have not had a fight.
Wow.
In that school. So when people become involved, because sometimes people say, well, it takes money, it takes program, it takes some other things to get people to behave or do something differently. But when you can get people that care and take a moment to listen, it really changes the whole dynamics of whether it's a family, a community, or even a country. So do you all see, going in, we probably got less than, this the 31st. But going in, part of being ready, we try to anticipate or prepare for what's coming next. Okay, we know the holidays are coming. We know we're about to go into a new year. And I'm going to share that challenge that we still got going on for people out there to give them something to do. Because, people out there doing all kinds of stuff. They jumping over milk cartons. They are pouring water on top of people. They're doing dances on TikTok, all this type of stuff. So we put about 5 challenges together for people just to do over the next 100 days. And I'm going to share that with you all. But when you look at, let me go to 5 challenges first. Now, I always like to talk about it. One is dealing with yourself, just spending 1 hour a week focusing on yourself. That's less than 10 minutes a day. Every day, dedicate 10 minutes to focusing on me, myself, and I. And then, because a lot of people don't do that until they're in the hospital. They're laying up in the hospital, and they got tubes hooked to them, and people saying, "Why, man." They should have took a break. And then the second thing was to encourage people to drink some water, at least a bottle of water every day over the next 100 days. And that helps to cleanse the body. That helps to balance a lot of the problems we have for this high blood pressure, diabetes, all that type of stuff. And then the third one was to either walk, crawl, hop, or think about walking, crawling, hopping at least a mile a day. And if you do that over the next 100 days, you'll walk, crawl, or run 100 miles. And the next one was to save $1 a day. Now, people say, well, $1 a day in 100 days, you have $100. Now, a lot of people say, that's not a lot of money. Can't do that much with $100. But a lot of people won't have $100 in 100 days. And we've had people got that got a little bit better and saved $10 a day. And that's 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks, pulling back, or 2 Happy Meals at Mickey D's. And if you save $10 a day, you will have $1,000 in the next 100 days. And if you get with some other people, like-minded people, and we've had people to do this, come together as a community, and some were able to go as high as $50,000. They actually bought a house that was in the community and turned it into a rec center, a gym, and a meeting room for the people in the neighborhood. And then the fifth thing was to get in touch with your family members. If you got any live family members that are older than you, to trace your roots back, so to speak, So that means getting in touch with them, finding out who they were, what they were doing, so that when we get into, especially Black and brown people, we talk about the history of our families. Once you find out the history of your families, you feel a little bit better about yourself. Because you find out your mama, daddy, grandparents, great-grandparents, all the way back, you find out some of the things they did other than what you were told that they did. But those are our challenges that we have out there. But to you all, over the next 100 days going into the new year, to help people stay ready or get ready. And if you prepare yourself, you don't have to put yourself in a compromised position when the new year comes, because the new year gonna come anyway. Whether they make you whatever is going to come. It could be doom and gloom, or it could be a lot of prosperity and hope. I try to focus on the prosperity and hope, even though our acronym is WAR. But we do still prepare for times of peace. If you prepare yourself, even the most harsh condition, whether it's bullying, whether it's dealing with a lot of anxiety, stress, health challenges, all this type of stuff, we can put ourselves in a better position if we prepare ourselves. So what are some of the things you all recommend that we could do going into the new year? With less than 60 days left, what are some of the things, even, these personal things? I mean, what do I know as a male, sometimes we just say, I just want to be here. If I make it and I got a post, I'm good to go. But it's other things you want to do too. But, what are some of the things you all look at as far as goals or just getting ready for and staying ready for the new year coming up, 2022?
Okay, I want to go back a little bit.
Go back there.
Today is the last day for Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that when I was thinking about those dads who are going into the school. They're helping curb the violence in the schools. And sometimes that violence is because there are things going on in the home and they take it out at school. Right. And sometimes and the students don't respect teachers as they do parents, even though teachers are sometimes parents, but they don't look at them the same way as they do their parents or somebody else's parent. So if somebody else's parent is there looking over them, they're going to respect that parent more so than they would the teacher, but simply because they're a parent and they don't want that parent to connect with their parent. So I was thinking about that, and that is important too, that parents get involved, because sometimes, again, the kids might think that they may see stuff going on at home, violence at home, and then they take it out on the kids. I mean, at school, they go back to school, dad was fighting mom, mom was fighting dad or whatever, and then it's a normal thing. They bring it out. Sometimes they have this anxiety at home and they bring it to school. And when the dads came in and said, we are here, to me that like loosen up the tension some. It's a mental thing. So I just wanted to bring that out because it is Domestic Violence Month. Today is the last day. And I commend the parents for being involved. And I think more parents should be involved. They should talk to their kids more, because you don't know what's going on in their heads. Because something at home could cause them to trigger and try to hurt somebody. So it's important that they talk and communicate and be involved in school. Step up, because I know my son. He just saw me walking down the hallway. I didn't stop in his classroom or anything, and he said, "You just had to embarrass me, didn't you?" No, and well, what did I do? No,
Your
just the fact
presence.
that he saw me at school, he got embarrassed. And when kids know that you're there, your presence is there, they're going to straighten up. They're not going to act like they would if you weren't there and you didn't care. So you got to care, to help curb some of that violence. That's what I had to say. Now, what was your question? Yeah, about it was.
Well, maybe going into the new year, some of the things that you recommend. I know you stay active and you got a couple things you balance life, doing plays and acting and writing and all those things. But what are some of the, I guess, goals, maybe personal goals that you focus on, or you think, or are you thinking about, are you really focusing on going into the new year?
My focus right now is trying to get my book out. Right now, that is my focus for the new year. Trying to get my book out and just helping people, because I went to a women empowerment thing today. It is so, everything they were saying was an affirmation in my book. My book, it affirmed everything they were saying, how women are less than, well, I ain't gonna say less, they're being treated less than a man. How women give up their identity to make the man feel better, or they just don't have enough confidence in themselves to do goals, to set goals and reach for higher standards and stuff like that. So my book, Power Thoughts, it affirmed everything in my book, affirmed everything that was being said today. Power Thoughts. And I'm having a book signing. I know I'm going off a little bit. Having a book signing this Sunday, November the 7th at Apex Museum at 3:00. Everybody need to come by and get this book, because it is so powerful. It is so powerful. It will help you to set goals, put your mind at peace, because there's so much bogged up in there. A lot of people don't set goals, and it will help you to set goals and forgive so you can heal. And a lot of people don't want to do holidays because, the pain. So, yeah, it's a good book. It's a good book.
Okay. Miss Shar'ia, what is something?
Yes.
I know you work on some. I know you help a lot of people, and you raising a family. You engaged out in the music industry, a whole lot of things. So, what are some of the things that you look at doing, putting in motion over the next 60 days before the year comes in?
The next 60 days, all that you just said, Drummer, is about first putting my higher power first and tuning into my higher self to connect all of what is in me within my will and what God wants for me to be able to help others and to help myself. And so goals is something that I stick to all the time. I'm always creating goals, and I always enforce that. Even with my clients, on day one, we assess, what do you want to see for your life, 3 to 6 months. I always ask my clients that as well. So looking at, when we get kind of close to the end of the year, many of us start reflecting. And especially these holidays, just as, Sylvia said, in terms of some people don't want to look at their pain because the sense of there's unhealed wounds. And so being able to reflect on, well, what do I want to see for my life? Where am I now? Where do I want to be? What steps do I need to take to get there? And that's something that I do for myself ongoing, and I encourage my clients to do ongoing, and we allow ourselves to take it as recognizing, because we all need, when we say goals, just as human beings, we need to feel a sense of accomplishment, because when we feel accomplished, then it brings some positive reinforcement that, okay, I did that. I feel good about that. Now I can do something else and I can keep that momentum going. And even that in itself can help to relieve some of that sense of depression and some of those uncomfortable emotions that may be felt during these, yeah, you said 60 days. Wow, it's right around the corner. 2022 is right around the corner. So for myself, yeah, I've set up, I want to say a perspective for myself, as well as what's going to help, some people to move and give them hopefully some motivation and momentum to continue to move through these next 60 days, moving into 2022 on a positive perspective. But yes, I'm looking to bring more out there to really help to empower others. My main thing has been to be an inspiration. I'm just living out my life and sharing it back every day. If it's not even with a client, it's with family, it's with a friend, it's a perfect stranger on the street, to hopefully spread some type of smile or joy, or give them a comment that can bring something positive to their lives. And that's really what I've been basing, I call my own mantra, just keep it on a positive note and just be an inspiration for others. As now on a more practical level of helping others to really get through this time, big thing is we want to stay activated. I use this word activated, and someone even asked me, why do you say that? What does activated mean? When you think of that word, it's getting energy, energizing someone. When you activate it, it's as if it's opening up. And so that's what we need in the time where people start to feel down, start to feel more stressed, more anxious, because for some, holidays are not a positive thing moving into the new year, and they're reflecting of that I didn't do, all that I didn't accomplish. And so it starts to look very gloomy instead of a good thing. So how can we switch that around? And activating oneself is to be able to, first, we have to get that momentum going. And even, Reginald, you said it yourself, even with those challenges that you have, doing something that will get you active, get you physically moving. So a responsibility, if we make it really simple, what is something I have to do? Because oftentimes you may want to do it, but what really needs to be done? So we have to start off with, what is a responsibility that I really know I need to do? Do that every day, or at least set yourself up to say, okay, day by day, I'm going to do this. One thing that I feel a sense of accomplishment on, and what that is. Every day, okay, I'm starting with day one. And one pleasurable, healthy thing, something that is just for pure enjoyment, and what that is. So that's the activation, that's bringing the energy in of what is the necessary to do, but what can help us to feel better about ourselves on a practical note. And surrounding yourself with people, we do need to have support. So even if it's not family and it's not positives as it relates to having family involvement, but social interaction is a type of support system, whatever that may be, something that's connected to something you enjoy, something of interest, but having that social support is so necessary. A last one I would also suggest is one we always go back to and is big on is really keeping that positive perspective. We don't realize that, just in terms of, with Sylvia having her book, in terms of our thoughts, that first off, we all have negative thoughts that run through our mind. We have the positive, we have the neutral thoughts. And as humans, our thought process is actually geared more towards the negative for for a defense mechanism so that it helps us to survive, in this world. So that's just human nature. So we really have to help ourselves focus and shift more to the positive. So being able to identify what are some positives in each day, what was good or meaningful to me this day, what happened in this day that was a good thing for me. And so when we raise our vibrations on just bringing more of that perspective in, we're not so cumbersome when, say, we're triggered or we experience a negative interaction with someone else. We can come back to that balance within ourselves just to really counteract that. And so I hope that's going to be helpful for some if they are starting to get in that spiral of thinking of 2022 and seeing it as, oh, it's another year. This one was so horrible. And they're so tunnel vision as to, I don't see anything positive. Let's try at least one of those, whether it is what Drummer said or just a perspective of what I just gave you, is really to help to change and shift you out of that negative emotional state.
Yeah, that is important because I always say next year this is gonna be my best year. I'm gonna go for it. Every year I say next year is gonna be it. Things just gonna rise. It's gonna be my year. So I'm constantly being positive about what's coming up. I tell people all the time, I am so excited about my future because I know I'm gonna be shining, gonna rise and shine. So it is important that you think positive and not always look back, because a lot of people make that mistake of looking back. Like, how can you go forward if you keep looking back? You're gonna bump your head. Always looking back. And what's back there, that was the past. Okay, so what's past, you learn from it, and that's it. Move forward, because you can't do anything about what happened in the past. Right. You got to move forward and think about what you're going to do next rather than what happened back there. That was history. And that's exactly what it is, history. You got the future to make. Okay, so think positive and look forward to it. I always look forward to it. Next year going to be my best year. I'm going to be, look, my goal is to be happy, wealthy, and wise. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's my goal. And I said, next year I'm going to be a millionaire. That's my goal. Right. Might not have a dime in the bank right now, but next year I'm going to be a millionaire. And just go and you got to think positive. You got to think positive. The only thing going to come positive when you're thinking positive is positive thing. You think negative things going to happen. So you got to think positive and say, hey, I'm going to go for it. And things going to happen for me. Everything may not happen the way you want it. It might be a little slow, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because it don't come when you want it, you may not be ready for it. God knows when it's time for you to have something. He might say, okay, you're going to be a millionaire, but you got to get prepared. You become a millionaire all of a sudden. How are you going to handle that? So you're going to have those trials and tribulations to get you prepared for what's coming, for that great moment. So you can't just say, I'm not going to do it. Things not going to happen for me. You got to be positive about it. Yeah. And just look forward.
You made me think when you said, I don't know, can you see it? That's my $1 million.
All right. Where's mine?
Hey,
share the wealth.
Share the wealth. Hey, but you know what? It's been a pleasure to have each of you all on here tonight, and we're excited. Going to the new year, we got a whole lot of things we're looking at, working on, and we're encouraging people. We're encouraging ourselves, and we look for growth. And when we look at, we are ready. And what it takes to be ready. You got to stay ready. You got to work on being ready at all times. You might not be able to prepare for everything, But like the military, if you keep yourself in spiritual, mental, physical, social, and healthy condition, no matter what comes, you'll be able to deal with it a lot better than people that don't. So we encourage people to pray, fast, meditate, strategize, come up with a way, a better way. Is there any closing things, Miss Shar'ia or Sylvia, you want to leave with the audience out there so they can either follow you or get in touch with you?
Go ahead, Shar'ia.
Okay. Well, they can visit my website at shariathomas.com. I am on social media. I will say I have not been active recently, but I will be with the coming goals, and you will see them roll out on social media at I am Shar'ia Thomas. And that's on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter.
Tell her this stuff right. Hold on. Tell her.
Okay, and also, me, you can reach me Facebook, Sylvia Hayes, or my Alive and Kicking Productions. Yeah, that's my company, Alive and Kicking. I'm Alive and Kicking. That's my company. So you can find me on Alive and Kicking Productions, and also Power Thoughts, which is the name of my book. I have a Facebook page, Power Thoughts. So you can find me on that. And don't forget, next Sunday, Apex Museum, to come and do the book signing. We're going to have some entertainment and refreshments and all of that good stuff. It's going to be a nice evening. Apex Museum, 3 o'clock, 135 Auburn Avenue. That's downtown. Sunday, November the 7th.
Okay. And join us next week over here. We're ready. Same bat channel, same bat time, 9 o'clock. And Tuesday, what? Good news? Good news at prime time. That's this
Not
Tuesday.
This Tuesday. Election.
Okay. Election Tuesday. Okay.
Election is this Tuesday, so we won't be doing the show, but we'll be here the next week.
Okay, so we definitely encouraging people to go out and vote. Do your due diligence. If you look at helping yourself, helping your family, helping your community, this is a critical time. This is a simple election, but this is probably the most critical election for you, because when you think about how they will withdraw these districts and different things, and you say, well, who are these people voting on these things? These are your city council people. It's making your neighborhoods more congested and all that type stuff. So you still got time to go over to SOS, Georgia's Secretary of State website, and find out who's up for election, and do your due diligence, call some people, share with some people, and get them ready for Tuesday. So with that being said, this is Reginal Drummer, the peopleologist, and we'll see.
She said about living her life and sharing back her life is very powerful.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. What you said about living and sharing your life was so powerful, and so we look forward to that and continue to share that. Okay, and please join us next week.